Hey everyone, welcome back. Man, we've spent 11 weeks together already, and now we're on page 95 of your Cover the Bible notes. And guys, what we're looking at today is a real tragedy. We're going to be wrapping up the first 5 books of the Bible called the Pentateuch, and it ends in tragedy. Because of unbelief, an entire generation of Israelites have spent their whole life wandering aimlessly and without meaning. Isn't it always that way outside of the will of God? Think for a moment about the environment that they spent their lives in. Dry and arid desert, without permanent housing, unable to live a normal life. Their existences had no destiny except dusty graves. Their place in history only serves to remind others of how futile it is to live in unbelief. But the most tragic thing of all is they did all of this with full knowledge of Jehovah's love and care. That's what makes it so terrible. If ever a group of people were exposed to the presence of God, they were. No one before or since have lived in an environment that required Jehovah to provide. There was no alternative provision. Why did the barren wilderness lie between Egypt and Canaan for these people? The answer to that question is appropriate for you to consider. You see, the land of Egypt is a type of the land of carnal, lustful lifestyle. To live and leave the habits and foods of that land behind would take some time. If they had been immediately transplanted into the promised land, their love for all of that carnality that they had been raised up in, and all of these filthy habits that they had would have been immediately transplanted into the promised land. Their love for the leeks and garlics and idolatry of Egypt would have remained intact. They had to learn that all their sufficiency, all of their supply, everything they needed came from God and God alone. Many times, God must remove us from the environment of our comfort and our wealth, our security, and our possessions to help us see ourselves as He sees us. In the desert, many things became plain that were unknown before. If they had slipped out of Egypt into the land that flowed with milk and honey, their self-centered attitudes would not have been broken. In the wilderness, their true value systems were exposed. Someone has said, when you squeeze a grape, you find out what's inside of it. It is in the desert that sin is revealed, and that character can be molded by God. When you're living in the desert, there is only one true source of supply, God. Too often we rely on our environment instead of God. As you live through the hours of this day, you may feel like you're wandering in wilderness. Perhaps there are heavy matters going on in your life right now, circumstances that you just don't know if you can handle or not. Know that God is your only resource in these times. He is the great provider. He is the provider in the wilderness of life, revealing His tenderness and His love in ways you might have missed if everything went smooth. He doesn't make mistakes. Every wilderness is a learning experience. Here's your scripture portion for today, taken from Psalm 106. He saved them from the hand of the foe, from the hand of the enemy. He redeemed them. The waters covered their adversaries. Not one of them survived. Then they believed His promises and sang His praise. But they soon forgot what He had done and did not wait for His counsel. In the desert, they gave in to their craving. In the wasteland, they put God to the test. So he gave them what they asked for, but sent a wasting disease upon them. At Oreb they made a calf and worshipped an idol cast of metal. They exchanged their glory for an image of a bull which eats grass. They forgot the God who saved them, who had done great things in Egypt, miracles in the land of Ham, and awesome deeds by the Red Sea. So he said he would destroy them, had not Moses, his chosen one, stood in the breach before them to keep his wrath from destroying them. Then they despised the pleasant land. They did not believe his promise. They grumbled in their tents and did not obey the Lord. So he swore to them with uplifted hand that he would make them fall in the desert and make their descendants fall among the nations and scatter them throughout the lands. God bless you guys. Have a great day. I apologize for the squirrel that keeps screaming out there while I'm trying to share this with you, but I'm going to go take care of that rascal, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.